Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's council meeting. The first item on the agenda is all present today except for an apology from Councillor Josh Mantikas and an apology from Kristen Desmond, our CEO, and replacing her today is our acting CEO, Michelle Riley. Before we go any further, I'd like to inform everybody about public attendance. And attendees are reminded that council meetings are a place of work for staff and councillors. Council is committed to meeting its responsibilities as an employer and as a host of this public forum by ensuring that all present meet expectations of mutually respectful and orderly conduct. It is a condition of entry to this meeting that you cooperate with any directions or requests from the council chairperson or council officers. The chairperson is responsible for maintaining order at council meetings. The chief executive officer is responsible for the health, well-being and safety of all present. The chairperson or chair executive officer may require a person to leave council premises following any behaviour that falls short of these expectations, and it is an offence to hinder or disrupt a council meeting, and public attendees are requested to register their attendance prior to entering the meeting. So item number 2 on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of September 2025, numbered 25/108 to 25/127, as provided to councillors, that they be received and confirmed as a true record of proceedings. May I have someone move that, please? Councillor Ireland, and a seconder. Councillor Lyons. Councillor Ireland, any comments? Councillor Lyons, any other comments from the floor? Then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. Item number 3 is late items, and are there any late items that councillors wish to add? There being none, are there any declarations of interest in a matter of a councillor at this meeting?
Yes, Mayor, I'll be leaving for item 12.4.1, perceived conflict of interest.
Thank you.
I'm Councillor at Tamar Rescue, so 12.6.
Thank you. Public question time. General rules for public question time and questions without notice. 30 minutes maximum for public question time and public questions. Any one speaker is limited to a maximum of 90 seconds to make a statement and/or 3 minutes for questions and a maximum of 3 questions. A question will be answered if the information is known, otherwise it will be taken on notice and responded to in writing. If a member of the public hinders or disrupts a meeting, or tries to hinder or disrupt a meeting, or refuses to leave a closed meeting, or uses obscene or offensive language, the chairperson may take responsible steps to remove the person from the ordinary or closed meeting, including requesting the assistance of police officer if required. And to assist with the compilation of minutes, it would be appreciated if community members with prepared questions and statements could please provide a copy to council via email or leave a copy with us. When addressing council, please state your name and address. And to be clear to any members of the public in attendance, as outlined in council's public question time policy, we will not allow statements or questions relating to the personal affairs or actions of a councillor or council staff, or which questions the competency of council staff or councillors. If someone chooses to ignore this directive, In the first instance, the statement of question will be rejected and you will be asked to sit down. Should anyone choose to ignore that advice or enter into a debate or disrupt the meeting, you will be asked to leave. So we now come to public question time, and there are a number of people that have indicated that they would like to speak. And the first person is Carl Cooper. Is Carl here? Oh, okay.
I might come back to him if he's coming.
The next person that wishes to speak is Thomas Hemphill.
Hello, my name's Thomas and I live at 51 Arana Place. Today I went for my morning walk and one section of the road is a one-way section less than 4 metres wide with a high wall on one side and a steep drop on the other. And when a vehicle comes the other way, this is on Arana Place, it's bad enough squeezing into the gutter when it's a car, but when it's a large truck, it's downright dangerous. And it made me think of a couple of things. Firstly, this narrow and dangerous road was probably built about 50 years ago. Fast forward in time, and did the council back then realise what a problem this street would be now and how difficult it is to fix? Secondly, with the proposed development at number 46, car traffic will only get worse. Not only that, but this dodgy section of road is actually being used as an example of why it is okay to approve another dodgy access road into the new development. We have a plan here with this development, with 4 standards not being in compliance and requiring council discretion. The 20% driveway access is right on the limit. The acceptable solution for doing away with pedestrian access makes no mention in the planning documents of 4 schools within walking distance and the likelihood of school children walking down that driveway during peak hour. The Council's strategic plan states that its objective is that development is in keeping with the character of the area and natural values. May I ask the Council today to think of the long-term effects of its decision? This application might just tick the boxes, but does it pass the pub test? In 50 years' time, will the residents of Arana Place wonder at the wisdom of a council decision in 2025 which created a monstrous development with permanently unfixable, difficult and dangerous access that changed for worse the character of the area and its natural values? And my question is to Council is how much does it take into account the character of the areas and its natural values in considering applications of this type?
Mr. Hemphill, thank you for your statement and your question. We do take it on notice and you'll be responded to in the required statutory time period.
Thank you.
Thank you. Adrian Coomber.
Hello, my name's Adrian. I live at 45 Arana Place, which is just 2 doors up from Tom. And the driveway that we're talking about is between our properties and Mr. Hans Pietek, who's sitting there next to me. This driveway, if it ever gets built, which I doubt because of the fact that it is so arduous to build, on a steep drive, being 5.5 metres wide, is going to leave 1 inch either side of the driveway to property boundaries. Which, when cars are going to meet each other in the driveway, are more than likely going to hit it or sideswipe it or run into it from an accident, regardless of where the water's going to go when it runs down the driveway, because there'll be no gutters. This is another issue that's going to create tension and responsibilities down the track, which I don't know if it's going to be responsible for council or for the developer, but it's going to be an issue. And I've since been told today now also that the garbage vehicles that was supposedly be designed to go up the driveway and pick up garbage bins from the top, which will be roughly 24 to 30 bins per fortnight, is now going to have all the bins delivered to the bottom of the street where there is absolutely no room, because there's hardly enough room for our own bins, let alone 30 more where a garbage truck's going to be going along Arana Place. And also, I also raised this question last time, how does council allow an application to proceed or to be approved if there's no way that any of the vehicles can actually designedly get up the driveway to actually build these things? I mean, there won't be a garbage truck required up there because there won't be any houses. They can't get materials up there. And they have to also jump through several more hoops before this becomes an ongoing concern, because they have to move a hydro pole to do this, which the hydro have to approve, which will require consideration by at least 10 houses in the area because they're going to lose power for a period of time, and also any runoff from the road, because it's going to be a hard packed area. The runoff water will be running through our side fences, undermining our fences, and into people's backyards, because there'll be 3 or 4 times the amount of water from a hard packed road surface. How does council, when they assess this is a question, how does council, when they get their driveway application form, are they going to inform the developer that there's no way they're going to get heavy vehicles up the driveway? There's simply not enough room to turn them or get them out. They won't even get round the first corner in Arana Place off the highway because the car's parked on the side of the road, let alone turn into a 5 metre driveway. I mean, I'm an engineer. I know these things can't happen. It will not happen.
Mr. Kumar, we take your statement on notice and your questions. We will find out about the rubbish arrangement. I'm not aware of that. And I don't, are you aware of that at all, Michelle? So we will take that on notice and we'll get back to you with a reply.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is Tracy Kelly.
I have 3 questions. My first question, at the September meeting, Mayor Holmdale, in response to my question, it was indicated that you had in good faith received legal advice stating that you would be covered by Council's insurance policy regarding the Code of Conduct. Additionally, Ms Desmond noted at the meeting that the Mayor would not knowingly breach the Local Government Act. However, as reported in the Examiner on August 30, Ms Desmond stated during the July meeting, a request for repayment of the money was made on June 20, 2025. I believe this request suggests that new advice, potentially related to the Northern Midlands case, had been provided, indicating that you would now be aware that you may not have been eligible to use the Council's insurance policy and that there was an awareness of a possible breach. There appears to be some inconsistency in responses to my questions. One indicates legal advice was provided in good faith, which I believe gave you an unfair advantage, while another reference a general understanding at the time that deductibles associated with the Code of Conduct would be covered by Council. To my knowledge, the Act does not state this explicitly. For the community's benefit, Mayor Holmdale, and in good faith, could you please clarify whether the request for repayment pertained to the full cost of all legal advice or only to the deductible?
We'll take that question on notice, Ms Kelly, and reply to you in the required statutory time period.
Thank you. Question 2. Following Ms Desmond's statement at the September meeting that the current motion before Council relates only to changing legislation and does not affect past actions, has the Council notified the insurance company about the error with this claim and assured them that any money paid out will be repaid in good faith?
Again, I'll take that question on notice and you will be responded to in the required statutory time period.
Thank you. And the third question, in the interest of transparency, is Council willing to provide to me a copy of the correspondence that was sent to the legal firm asking if Council's insurance policy could be used for legal advice for Mayor Holmdale in the Code of Conduct, in spite of the fact that the Code of Conduct fact sheet clearly stated that all parties are to bear their own costs?
We take that question on notice as well, Ms Kelly, and you'll be responded to in the required statutory time period.
I thank you.
Thank you. The next and last speaker is Cheryl Swan.
So we have a new lectern, but some of us aren't really that tall, so it's a bit difficult.
Cheryl, I suggest you swing the mic to the side. We are bringing it down, and if you stand just on the side there, we'll be able to hear you.
Sitting down there, we can't see you people. It's a bit hard to see people. So, it's a bit of a blockage. Maybe you don't want to look at us, but, we might want to see what you're up to.
You get on it with it whichever way you're comfortable.
This morning, People of the West Tamar might like to know that some of these people have been spending the morning with our Premier and others at Exeter. I know because I was there, not with them, but I was there. I've just had what's the word I want? Kerry Vincent's just had a little talk to me and has said he will hopefully proceed the pedestrian crossing that we so desperately need in Exeter. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I look forward to seeing that actually done. So, yeah, a commitment. He's made me a commitment. We'll see what happens. The other thing is, currently there is a development application at 171 Paper Beach Road waiting for a decision by this council whether it can proceed or not. You have my objection to it already. This particular application has no purpose written in the application of what it's to be used for. I do not understand how this council can accept an application when you don't know what the development is to be used for, let alone all the reasons that I have spoken of in my objection, which, looking at it and all the reasons I've said, this clearly is not a residential building. I hope that you actually do look at the detail of this application and make a decision that is appropriate. We have, I think it's nearly 25,000 people living in the West Tamar with almost 11,000 residential properties. If a development such as this is allowed to proceed and be done, then all the existing properties and any in the future will be at risk of losing their residential amenity. So every single person in this community won't want to live where they are if a similar development is allowed to proceed next door, including you, Mayor.
Yeah, Ms. Swan, if I could, your time has expired for your question. If you could answer that. But what I would say to you is that matter hasn't come before the council at the moment,
Apparently it's next meeting.
We can't answer any questions. We're not in a position to know how it's been assessed or what the recommendations are. So I'm afraid we can't answer any questions regarding that matter.
No, I'm just asking you to think about it objectively and thoroughly and with decency. Do the right thing, in other words.
Thank you.
I do have one other question, though.
Yes.
Previously, I've asked for an extension of time for people to be able to speak because 3 minutes is extremely short, especially when you hear how some of the, talk goes around this table, and I would like to know if that is actually going to happen in the future.
I'm happy to. Do you want some more time at the moment?
No, that was all for today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that is all in public.
Very quick statement. Coming to this meeting, it kind of obscures my of the items.
We Thank you. We are actually going to lower the height of the lectern, and that won't be there next month. But it's just been delivered, and it's the wrong size, and it is going to be fixed. Thank you very much. Item 5.2 is public questions on notice, and the questions from T. Kelly on pages and replies are on page 74 to 76, and questions on notice from G. Hay and responses are on page 75 of the agenda, and there is a response to Ms. C. Swan on page 76 of the agenda. Item number 6 is the Chief Executive Officer Declaration. And now we come to the planning section of the agenda, and Council is now sitting as a planning authority. Each council acts as the planning authority for their municipality. In this role, councillors consider development applications and make administrative decisions that are based on the council's planning scheme. While councillors are obliged to consider community views, this does not mean that they can vote in favour of those views while fulfilling the role of a planning authority. Councillors must make planning decisions based on whether a planning application is consistent with the local planning scheme, even if members of the community object to the planning proposal. And Plan 1, PA 2025-101, sport recreation and a canoe polo at Blackstone Park Drive, Blackstone Heights. And the purpose of this report is for Council to consider a proposal for sports and recreation works to support canoe polo, canoe slalom, and associated activities. The application involves works to the shore of Long Bottom, a creek and informal inlet in the Tamar Canoe Club. The proposal includes one on-water field and slalom training route, which would not usually be used concurrently. And the actual details of the application are found from page 78 to page 139 of the agenda. And the recommendation is that the requests variations comply with the relevant performance criteria to be supported, and matters raised by the representor have been considered but do not alter the assessment against the scheme of the recommendation, and that the application for sports and recreation and assisted works by the Tamar Canoe Club for land at Blackstone Park, lot number 2 on plan number 18340 to be approved subject to the conditions that are outlined from pages 97 to page 139 of the agenda. Will somebody please move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Lyons, and a seconder, please. Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Lyons.
As most people know, Trevelyan Dam is a hive of activity for powerboat skiing, wakeboarding, ski paddling, and canoeing. And this is just another, basically moving a group that used to be in another part of the lake onto that part of the lake. And of course, they had to have approval from our council because we go to what is now high water. It was probably well above high water once before Trevelyan Dam, but so they have to get approval from us. I think it's obviously getting approval would give them access to state government funds for building of this course, and the levelling out the bank to make it so that the referee of the this competition can walk along, keeping parallel with the play. So it's a good space. They will have to move some soil from one side to the other, and they will have to sort of extend the boundary. But I think it's another great addition to Launceston's recreational facilities, and I will now support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, just in support of this, it is a good report. It looks like it's going to improve the area. Of note is that the banks are being improved and the use. This is actually planning use, and I still think it's got it still remains adaptable to the long-term future. So I think it should be supported.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Are there any other comments? There being none, would you?
Well, just a
beg your
quick.
pardon?
No, nothing amazing. It's just that in all my time on council, I never realised we were responsible for this part of the Trevelyan Dam, which is quite interesting. So, how far do we go up? Do we
to the high water mark?
No, sorry, but how further up the river?
Oh,
Yeah.
Right you are. That makes sense. Interesting. Sorry, that was only a comment rather than yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there are no further contributions, I will put it to the vote. All those in favour?
Oh, close the debate.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Councillor Lyons.
I think this is, as I said before, a great recreational opportunity for people, and I understand the proposal. There's an acceptance that there'll be times when it'll be flooded out, and there'll be times when there's no water. But if they coordinate with the hydro, and it's good luck trying to coordinate with any government department. I was a public servant for 38 years, so I think I've got some expertise in this. I think it's a good use of what was really limited recreational space because of the height and lack of height of the water. I still think it will add to our recreational amenity in Tasmania.
Fantastic. Thank you. I will now put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. Plan 2, PA 2025111, visitor accommodation, change of use with access over 380 and 398 Rowella Road to 400 Rowella Road, Cayena. And the purpose of this report is for Council to consider a proposal for the changes to the use of an existing shed to visitor accommodation. The proposed visitor accommodation has a floor area of 101.4 square metres, is self-contained and includes 3 guest bedrooms. The building will not be used for permanent occupation. The access to the site is via the existing legal right-of-way through the neighbouring properties at 380 Rowella Road and 398 Rowella Road. The details of this application are found from page 140 to 158 of the council papers, and the recommendation is that the requested variations comply with the relevant performance criteria and be supported, that matters raised by the representative have been considered but do not alter the assessment against the scheme or the recommendation, and that the application for visitor accommodation, change of use with access over 380 and 398 Rosella Road by Ludwig Wilber for land on 400 Rowella Road, Cayena, lot number 15 on plan number 40867 be approved, subject to the conditions outlined and detailed from pages 146 to 158 of the council papers. Will somebody please move the recommendation? Thank you, Luke. Councillor Lyons, and a seconder, please. Councillor Ferguson. Thank you, not Councillor Lyons, Councillor Ireland.
I don't know why you get the two good-looking guys.
I do.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm happy to move this one. The main, there's only one representative, and they had more sort of practical issues with stormwater. There's actually no increase in the roof area, so stormwater is going to stay the same, but the proponent is actually going to channelize the stormwater, which is not required, but they're going to do it. It's good. And also the access driveway, which is a shared driveway. He's going to improve the driveway. Again, wasn't required to do this, and going to put some signage up so that the users of the Airbnb are aware that it's a shared driveway. The noise is not an issue. The nearest house is 40 metres away, and there's actually a tree barrier between the two. So I think it's a good development. I'm happy to move it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ireland. Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, I agree with the report. Just sort of reflects the accommodation needs in our areas. So this is for visitor accommodation. Its discretion is actually about converting a habit, well, at the current current situation, it's non-habitable. So that's the discretion. So it will have to comply to all the building regs, which will come after planning. And the other thing just to note is that there are conditions that talk about occupancy of one person can't be beyond 3 months. And the other thing is there is also site management expectations. So guest house rules and requirements that will be a part of the planning permit. Happy to move it.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments? Councillor Ireland and then Councillor Lana. Councillor, I beg your pardon, Allen and Councillor Lana.
Just one question. It states, as Councillor Ferguson has just said, that it's no occupant may exceed 3 months duration of a use in a 12-month period. So it's definitely holiday accommodation. But how, I know that they have to sign in. How often will that be monitored, or is it normally monitored?
May I throw that to our planner?
Yeah, so there is a requirement on the permit for the operators to keep records of the guests when they check in and check out. And while they don't have to automatically submit those to us, they need to be made available if we request them, if we feel that we need to have any concerns or need to review that.
Are you happy with that reply, Councillor Allen? Thank you. Councillor Lana.
Just a question. Given that it's a 3-month occupancy at a time, if there were successive occupancies of 3 months, that would be, coming up to permanent residency, not of the same resident. I'm just wondering if this was for a permanent residence, would that be acceptable under the planning guidelines?
No. So in the zone, you can only have one permanent dwelling per property, but there's no restriction on having additional one or even multiple visitor accommodation units. The 3-month time frame is part of the definition of short-term accommodation. So that's really just reiterating to the applicant what short-term accommodation is. And as you said, yes, they could have 3 months, 3 months, 3 months if they chose to do that, but there's nothing under the planning scheme to prevent that. It just can't be the same occupant for more than 3 months of the year.
It's puzzling to me, but there you go.
Thank you, Councillor Lana. And are there any other comments? There being none, I'll ask Councillor Ireland to close.
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you. I will put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. And the final planning matter is Plan 3 PA 2024357, residential multiple dwellings, 11 new and 1 existing at 47 Arana Place, Riverside. And the purpose of this report is for Council to consider a proposal for residential multiple dwellings comprising a 12-unit strata development, 11 new units and 1 existing unit at 47 Arana Place in Riverside. The site is a rear allotment to be accessed via an upgraded driveway off Arana Drive, and the details of the application are found from pages 159 to 233 of the council papers. And the recommendation is that the application for PA 2024357 be determined as follows, and it's quite there's quite a lot of information there, and they're found from pages 173 to 229. But the recommendation is that the application for residential multiple dwellings, 11 new units and 1 existing unit by Wilkin Design and Drafting Proprietary Limited for land at 47 Arana Place, Riverside, CT 186722/2 be approved, subject to the conditions found from pages 174 to pages, I beg your pardon, 229. Thank you. Will somebody please move that recommendation? Councillor Ireland.
I'm happy to move this.
Thank you.
This has been a
And I need a seconder
Oh, sorry.
first. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Ireland.
This has been a long, drawn-out affair. The main objection that we had right from the beginning was the ability of the site to be landslip issues. So we actually have had 3 geotech reports. The final one just came in recently, and the third one criticised the previous 2. None of these geologists trust each other, I guess. But the main thing was that there was a tolerable risk. Now, I understand that this issue is not approved, not liked by the residents, but it does comply with all the planning things, and therefore council has no way of rejecting this application. However, obviously the representatives do have the ability to appeal this decision. And in fact, if we believe what we hear from the audience, it's impossible to build this development anyway, so I'm probably wasting my breath. But I move this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ireland. Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a little bit to unpack with this, so it's well understood. We are sitting as a planning authority, and our requirement is to make this decision based on the planning scheme, and this is a case in point that shows really the complexity of it, and things that you would think are simple are not so simple. When you look at this development, there's a lot to not like about it, and we have heard some feedback from the community and all the registered representations. Things such as the 20% gradient across the site, the TIA, it's accepting aspects of it, the geotech risk, the infrastructure costs, even down to the poles, the driveway. However, when you look at it, there's 4 discretions, and they're around height, access, traffic, and landslip. And so we have to agree or disagree with the report based on those discretions. And then we look at, as Councillor Ireland has pointed out, that there's, because of Council's interest in this, we've now had a total of 3 geotech assessments, which have brought us now to a place where there's such an array of conditions that we're doing all we can to, whilst fulfilling our role as the planning authority, trying to be forward thinking in terms of mitigating as much of this risk as possible. So, I look at it and I go, well, there's engineering conditions, even to the point of how they're going to draw the plans. They're going to come through. There's additional boreholes for the hydrology to be confirmed. There's post inspections of the geotech. If they stage this, they are not going to be able to rely on one piece of a sample or assessment. It's going to have to be redone. And on-site detention, I was going to ask a question, but in the condition, the collected runoff from all the impervious areas must be piped to the stormwater. That includes the driveway. So there'll be no getting out of that. So as much as I really don't like much of this, if I look at my role as their planning authority, I can't find grounds to satisfy a refusal. So I think we need to approve this, but there is opportunity for debate if anyone's able to bring something that would be substantial grounds to refuse.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Are there any other comments? Councillor Lana.
My main concern is that the clause C 2.6.5 of planning pedestrian access, there is no acceptable solution achieved, and just the fact that the rubbish bins are at one collection point where there will be, according to the traffic impact assessment, 60 movements per day for typical use, with 7 movements anticipated within the peak hour, but with regard to the performance criteria of this aspect of things, safe and convenient pedestrian access must be provided within parking areas, having regard to characteristics of the site. It's very, very steep for certain properties to take their bins out. The number of parking spaces, so that triggers the requirement that the footpath be 1 metre wide, which it isn't. The frequency of vehicle movements, which I've just cited, and the needs of persons with a disability. So obviously it doesn't meet that performance criteria. And then the road authority comments are that waste collection for the development is undertaken with a private agreement with the body corporate with a waste management company. This is due to limited space along the frontage for council's curbside collection. It's just this issue of the collecting point for the bins is a particular storage area that everyone has to get their bins to. So that's my main concern.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lana. Are there any other concerns? I will, according to the planner's report, it does comply, but I will hand it over to Christina Ennis to reply.
Thank you for your detailed review of the report. It's appreciated. I guess in relation to, the first distinction is the acceptable solution versus the performance criteria. So while the applicant has acknowledged that they do not comply with the acceptable solution, because it is a merit-based system, they have the option to have it assessed against the performance criteria, and the assessment that's been undertaken has been satisfied that the performance criteria is achieved, and the assessing planner takes advice both from the council's engineers and also from the traffic assessor. I can give some further response to some of those other key points. In terms of the waste collection, it will indeed be collected on site. Basically what will happen is the private waste collection vehicle will need to basically drive into the site, turn at the end, and then come back and collect on the way down. That part of the site is one of the flatter parts of the driveway, so it is the most appropriate location for a bin collection. It is also important to note that not all of the driveway is the 20%, so that only represents 2 sections of the overall driveway length. And I'm not speaking as an engineer, I'm speaking as a planner, so sorry if some of the terms are not exact, but the waste collection location has been determined to be the most suitable, rather than having them collected from out the front of each individual unit.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Councillor Lana.
Can I just ask one question on that about the waste? So if something comes up and the waste vehicle cannot go up and turn, what happens then when we've stated that the waste has to be collected on site, not out the front? So if the vehicle finds, according to representation, that the vehicle can't get up there and turn around, what happens in that situation then?
So I guess that's where it comes down to the condition requirements for the engineering plans.
Yes.
So there are certain standards regarding widths and gradients and manoeuvring spaces for different categories of vehicle, and the plans will have to be prepared to accommodate that. So and that's prior to works commencing for the development.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? First of all, Councillor Shegold and Councillor Lyons.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I was a little bit confused about the rubbish collection, so thank you for correcting that. But when you say the truck will go in and then do a turn and then pick up all the rubbish bins, which I assume, looking at page 203, is on the left-hand side as you exit the property. But we're expecting this twin steer rubbish truck to go to the very top to the cul-de-sac area. Is that
Yes.
where they're going to turn?
That's to allow them to turn. Yep.
Right. And I'm no engineer, clearly. That doesn't really seem to be a big area for a large vehicle to turn. But you're saying that their engineering report has considered a twin steer refuse vehicle from turning Well, they'll have to turn and then reverse, I suggest. They won't be able to do a complete U-turn there. And that's been considered.
Yeah, it has been designed to accommodate a waste collection vehicle.
Right.
Yep.
And as Councillor Allen mentioned, if that fails, then we would have to, and the rubbish has to go on the road. There's not sufficient space for any rubbish, that amount of rubbish bins outside the property, are there?
That's correct. The conditions do require them to provide on-site collection. So if they can't provide the detailed engineering plans, once again, that are consistent and demonstrate that a waste collection vehicle can enter, turn and exit, then the development won't be able to proceed because that is a requirement prior to commencement of works.
Okay, thank you. And the other one is I brought this up before, and maybe Dino might be able to help out, is the stormwater runoff from this property. And as you can see by the diagrams that are contained within the document, there's a picture on page 200, which shows the whole aspect looking at it from, well, here probably. And I detect that the detention base will be at the bottom right hand of the property. There's an open space there. So it looks like lawn on this drawing, but clearly that's not going to be something where the kids go and play, because there's going to be a detention basin there. Okay, so as part of the Stormwater Works 15A, the detention system must be in accordance with specifications, be designed by a suitably qualified person under the Occupational Licensing Act 2005. I don't know how that even covers stormwater, but anyway, that's beside the point. And have a maintenance schedule in accordance with the Building Act. So that building, this is private property. So the building, the maintenance schedule, will we have any oversight over that?
They will need to submit. It's assessed as part of the plumbing stage of the application. That will need to be submitted to council for assessment and approval.
Right, but it says maintenance schedule, so that indicates to me that once it's built, there will be a maintenance schedule implemented by the owner.
Yep.
And do we have any oversight over that?
Yep, because there is a requirement for them to comply with the outcomes or the content of that schedule.
Okay.
We can take action on that if it's not being done. It will also, generally how it would work with a strata is that it would be tied into the body corporate management, and so they would manage that part of the management for the site on an ongoing basis.
So any like build up of refuse or debris in the detention centre that makes it or possibly could make it fail, that's something we could act upon?
Yes.
And okay, and because I see that as part of a bigger picture of there's a lot of water that's going to be running down into that stormwater pipe system, and I know that's the detention basin's purpose to collect the water and then run it off when the flow is less. But we all know that these things don't always work properly, and maybe through, and I'm not suggesting that the owner will let it fail, but there'd be a lot of water that would be potentially cross Serrano Place down into the Bloom property. So I'm just really concerned about the stormwater, but you're saying that we will have coverage and oversight over it?
We will be able to require compliance.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Schiegel. Councillor Lyons.
My reservation about this application was the driveway, and I went through the Australian standard, and I actually can't find anything that stops it in the Australian standard. Each of the clauses went through them, and first time I've really studied the Australian standard for that. So I now have a computer and a big screen, so I can actually match them up a lot easier. And I couldn't find anything that would prevent this from being built under that Australian standard. And so I can't, as a planning authority, vote against it because it complies with that standard. Bear in mind, I thought the driveway was the risk area. When you look at the stormwater and the other things, the picking up of rubbish on the site, the driveway to me seems, the potential problem, but it complies with the Australian standard, so I can't vote against it.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Are there any other Comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, thank you. Just questions. I've spoken. Is the waste condition specific enough? Because it talks about stage one having to be completed before rubbish can be taken away, and it's not necessarily a stage strata. We don't know if I'm guessing we don't know if it will be stage strata. I'm just wondering whether we should take a. My question is, should we take a look at the condition to make sure that it's strict enough? Because we all in agreement here. My concern is, and related to the question, is that how would they overcome that? For example, potentially trying to back up if only stage one was done. So that's my question, to whether we need to just relook at that condition.
So if they choose to stage it, all works for the driveway and access and the bin collection area will all be required at stage one. So there's no potential for units to develop prior to that that arrangement being in place. If they don't choose to stage it and they do it all at once, which obviously we know in terms of timing with building units is unlikely, then it would just be taken to all potential stages are happening at the same time, and they would still need to comply with that condition up at that initial stage.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Are there any other questions? I think you'll all note that from the number of questions that have been asked by all the councillors, this hasn't been an easy planning application to deal with. However, it does comply with our planning scheme, and the recommendation is to approve. So now I'll ask Councillor Ireland to close.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, as you pointed out, it's a really challenging one, but there are no valid grounds for rejection. All the performance criteria have been addressed. If there's one small glimmer of hope in this thing, the stormwater situation will be much better improved for the area, because basically what you're going to have is all the surface water that previously ran down the hill is now going to be collected into a stormwater drain. So the people below Rana Place the risk of flooding them has been completely eliminated. So I'm happy to go ahead and approve this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour?
It's a hard one.
Against? So could you just keep your hands up? So for Councillor Sladden, Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Lyons, Councillor Shegold, Councillor Homdale, Councillor Allen and Councillor Ireland, and against? A no vote is a no, so, and against is 1.
Sorry, abstain. I don't have enough information about this.
It's too late, Councillor. Your time for comment was before I took the vote. Thank you. So the next item, item 8, the Office of the Chief Executive Officer, Council, and it's the Council workshops held in September and October. And the purpose of this report is to provide a record of workshops held in accordance with the requirements of Section 10(3)(c) of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025, and they are detailed from pages 230 to 233 of this agenda, and the recommendation is that Council receives the report on Council workshops held on the 16th of September 2025 and the 7th of October 2025 and the 14th of October 2025. Would somebody please move that recommendation? Councillor Allen, thank you. And a seconder, please. Councillor Sladden. Councillor Allen.
This is just to ensure that the public knows what workshops we have had and what's been discussed, so it's transparency. So happy to move that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sladden.
Beautifully summed up by Councillor Allen. Nothing further.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comment? Councillor Lyons.
Well, I guess you all know what I'm going to say. I guess you all know what I'm going to say. I still don't. When we have notes of a workshop, when we all have a clear picture of what the decision we're going to recommend, but of course, in council workshops under the Local Government Act, you can't actually make decisions. I can remember one particular time, I think we had about 8 different opinions as to what we had actually decided in a workshop. These are only notes, they're not decisions. And I still think we should be able, under the Local Government Act, to make recommendations at workshops so we know what we've actually decided. I know I'm the only voice, but I still have to record it.
Well, Councillor Lyons, the government is looking for comments about reform to the Local Government Act. You might like to put that forward. Any other comments? No, there being none. Councillor Allen, would you like to close? Thank you very much. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. 8.2 is CEO 2024-2025 annual report. And the purpose of this report is to provide Council with a 24-25 annual report for adoption. And the annual report is detailed from pages 234 to pages 232. And before I ask for a mover for the recommendation, I would like, and I'm sure that there will be others that will join me, I would really like to commend our communications manager, Simon Tennant, for the excellent job he's done with this report. It's put together very well. It's very precise. It's easy to understand. And it certainly has a very professional look about it. So, Simon, thank you very much. So now I will move the recommendation that Council adopts the 2024-25 annual report as presented. Will somebody please move? Who put their hands? Councillor Ireland. And who seconded? Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Ireland.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I echo your comments about the professional presentation. It's really good, and it's got all sorts of useful information. So it tells the community where the money's going, what we're doing, and so on. So really pleased with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, happy to commend this. It is a good report, very comprehensive. We wish more people would read it. So I've just got a little challenge for Simon, seeing he got an accolade earlier, is I want you to think, well, sorry, I can't direct staff. Ooh. We should think. I think it's worth actually to council. I do think it's worth us thinking about how we do get that information out. For example, there are new ways in technology that we could look at it. For example, there's people that cheat in reading books by subscribing to certain programs that give them the summaries. So I think through the chief executive, we probably need to look at ways of how these snippets can be disseminated into the future. One idea, Simon, is we could look at that method of whether it's a short synopsis, breakdown, how it's prepared and viewed in the website as well. So probably other ideas, but commend the report. And I think from here on in, we do need to look at how we can get this information out differently.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Are there any other comments? Councillor Lano.
I probably can't vote on this report. I'm not noted as one of the councillors because I'm just a short stay. My observation is it's a very unwieldy document to have the minutes of the previous meeting in with the current agenda. It's hard for people to download the document to look at all the 400 pages of this agenda. Well, the annual report is contained in the agenda, which is
It's a separate document, Councillor Lana.
right. Okay,
Yes.
fine. All right. Do I endorse this plan or not? As
Well, if you have read the annual report and you feel that it's ready to go to the public, then of course you can endorse it.
All right.
Are there any other comments? Yes, Councillor Lyons.
Just on page 262 of the agenda, um, I did actually raise this before, but we've got a heading which says our infrastructure, and it shows a photo of inspection head port, which is Tasport's infrastructure.
Well,
So
I think you're really picking now, Councillor Lyons, because I think if you mention yes, it is, it's Tasport's infrastructure. But if you mention Beauty Point, what's the first thing people think of? They think of Inspection Wharf.
fish and chips, yeah.
Well, that as well. I certainly, I think, maybe that's a little bit of poetic license, but I think it's certainly, if you want to know about Beauty Point, that to me is the symbol of Beauty Point.
I have no problem.
Yeah.
I did actually raise it when we had a preview of the document. I just thought we could have some of our infrastructure there, even if it was the Beauty Point new path, etc. I've got no problem, but I want to.
I'm sure we can organise it for next year for you, Councillor Lyons. Thank you. Any other comments?
This one.
Councillor Allen.
Just to say that it's a really good report, and I think it's really important that the community read this because they can see what council actually does and where our money goes and what we do in that financial year, which is really important to see.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Sladden.
Look, at a risk of putting the cat amongst the pigeons, just following on from Councillor Ferguson's suggestion of getting feedback or different ways that we can interact with the community and getting this information out there, perhaps we could garner some get some community consultation or some community feedback on how best to present this information to the community in a digestible form, whether it be, AI enhanced or, clips, synopses or whatever.
Some of the annual report has to follow a required format, and especially the financial reporting. The other information and the issues that we highlight, I think they do it very well. In the previous life, it was my responsibility to produce the annual report of the company I worked for. And I can tell you, we won a gold medal because there is actually competition for annual reports, a national competition. And I'd be very proud to put this one up next to that one. And I'd be very confident that we'd rate very highly in it. But annual reports by nature are very, it's not exactly, exciting reading. But if you're looking for something, it's all there. And I think the way we project our councillors so that people can get to know a little bit about them as well. I certainly take on board the comments that both of you make, and maybe something we'll discuss in a workshop. Yes.
Simon's pointing at me here. It's an excellent report. I would just love for our community, more of our community, to access it, and so I guess it's improving that accessibility in a way. But not for a moment would I suggest changing the format in how we digest it. But yeah, congratulations to the team that put it together.
Well, I think Simon's halo must be getting pretty tight by now. Thank you very much. Councillor Ireland, would you like to close?
No, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 8-0. The next item, CEO 3, Local Government Amendment Targeted Reform Bill 2025 submission. And the purpose of this report is to provide Council with a draft submission in relation to the proposed amendments of the Local Government Act 1993, the Act, and ancillary amendments to the Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal Act 2020 for adoptions, and the details and the reporting is from pages 324 to 326. And the recommendation is that Council endorses the submission to the consultation draft bill included in attachments 1 and 2 and authorises the Chief Executive Officer to sign the submission on their behalf. Will somebody please move that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Shegold. Seconder, please, Councillor Lyons. Councillor Shegold.
Madam Mayor, we've workshopped this and gave our points of view to the CEO, and she's drafted a great letter there, which encompasses all that we discussed in 4 dot points, which was good. So good to go through the exercise, and hopefully we will make a difference into the final path that the government take.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lyons.
I think Kristen's Chief Executive Officer has given us a good summary of what we talked about in our workshop. I think the government has some real problems with this bill. I think, if I can use an English comedy, it's a brave decision, Minister, if he brings up the bill that's before us. In terms of things like, a councillor gets elected and then they have to do mandatory training within 6 months after their election. And if they don't do it, it's mandatory. If they don't do it, then despite the fact that it's a popular decision, they get elected, the minister or some bureaucrat in Hobart has to tell them that they're no longer on the council. So that sort of thing. In terms of the 975, depending on the size of the council, how many people are in it, I can remember a time when at least 3 of us councillors have had to go out for some reason, involved in some group or whatever. So we couldn't take part in that decision. Well, if you had 5 on a council and 3 were out, how do you get a majority and how do you get a quorum? So things like that. I think the minimum should be 7 and the maximum 9. But there are just so many little things in that act. It's really a contravention of democracy. Having partaken of some of the existing training, which is very clunky, and when I've tried to do it, I've been dropped out and then had to go to the department to try and get back in. If you're going to do training, let's make it smooth, easy to work. And I'd be very happy to do the training for local government if it's easy in terms of easy access. And as soon as they get the federal parliament and the state parliament to do some training, I'll be very happy for local government to do that training. I think what Kristen has put up is, a very good statement of our position in workshop.
Thank you, Councillor. You did jump the gun because you didn't give.
Oh, no, I did. I said
You're happy?
Sorry.
Fine. No, that's okay. Are there any other comments? No further comments. Councillor Shegold.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to point out to Councillor Lyons that the quorum and other matters is in the next document, so we don't get the 2 letters. There's 2 separate documents that are going out. So, but no, happy to close. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you very much. So now I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. CEO 4, the Future of Local Government Review, Councillor Numbers Discussion Paper and Submission. And the purpose of this paper is to provide a submission in relation to the Tasmanian Government's discussion paper reform to councillor numbers and allowances and the discussion paper, and the details are found from page 366 to 368, and the recommendation is that the council endorses the attached submission to the reform to council numbers and allowances discussion paper and authorises the Chief Executive Officer to sign the submission on their behalf and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to lodge the submission both with the Local Government Association of Tasmania and directly with the Office of Local Government. And may I please have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Shegog. Councillor seconded Councillor Lyons, Ferguson.
Thanks,
Councillor Lyons.
Thank you.
Shegog.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, this is just a follow-on from the previous, or similar to the previous letter which we discussed at workshop. It's in relation to the reduction of the number of councillors per council area from 7 to 5, which then sort of muddied the waters for maintaining a quorum. If a person had a conflict of interest or pecuniary interest, you could end up possibly, or even if someone like Councillor Mandicus is on leave today, you could end up with only 3 councillors or even less in some of these councils, which would be unworkable and actually throws in the face of a true democratic council or organisation. And some of the options that came up in relation to fixing that, to me, were not acceptable. For example, there was some discussion in relation to having a person with a conflict or a pecuniary interest stay in the room for the discussion, but be not able to discuss, but be present just to ensure there was a quorum, which is if we're getting down to that level of confusion, then I think that maybe they should reassess those numbers. We've seen the state government go from 25 back to 35 because they've realised that over a period of time the workload required, and I think that all councillors here, especially for the ones that have been around a little bit longer, would vouch for that the workload has increased considerably since we first came on. And it's great that we share the load here. If some other councils are unable to do that, then that's a problem for that particular council, but we do quite well here. There was also the question about superannuation, and again, that's an individual choice. I don't know if that should be mandatory. It's an individual choice. The allowance that we receive, I think, is quite good, and therefore, if I want to put something into my superannuation extra, I can. But for those that are maybe retired and taking out the superannuation, why would you be wanting to put $300 into an account that's only got $1,000 in it? So it doesn't really quite make sense. Either, I think that was to ensure that some councillors were putting in some superannuation for those that didn't have a very healthy superannuation fund. But that's not a government role, that's for an individual's choice, I'd have thought. And then the councillor allowances. But I think the letter, again, captures everything that we spoke about at workshop, and happy to support the letter going off to the government.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, I'm very comfortable with what we're providing to the process. In the context is reform, and we've been in local government. We've been experiencing cyclic reform and ideas, and so what I would say is that the government, including today at Cabinet, are very willing to hear our views. And so I think that this is quite robust, but they're good for it. And I hope that it's seriously considered in amongst the mix with the other councils. So yeah, happy to support our position on this.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Councillor Lyons.
Just on the number of councillors in this proposal, if you're in a large municipality with very few numbers, it might be a good thing to have people from different areas, just as we've had some northern members of the municipality over time and southern and some mid candidates or councillors. I think some of those large councils, probably need one from each of their towns, and they probably get roughly get that now. So in terms of only having 5, if you've got, I don't know, 5 different towns, you might get that, but you might also get only councillors from the larger part of the municipality. So it does sort of restrict the local representation, and that's I think I perceive that as a bit of a problem.
Are you proposing we go back to the ward system?
No, I don't. No, but I think if you if you get people from each area, it's probably a good thing, and that does happen to some degree from what I have looked at with councils, and I think going down to 5 just restricts that, and I think as I said before, Kristen's letter adequately covers that. I just hope that our state politicians bring in a similar system for themselves. They should be compulsorily trained. After all, we have seen a number of mistakes lately, and so some training may help them, and I'd be very happy to see them helped.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Your comments may well be noted. Thank you, Councillor Allen.
Just to add to those comments, I mean, a ward system wouldn't be so bad, but I don't think we'll see that happen. I think that they're talking, the other thing that I find a problem, they're talking about that maybe people could join in, by Zoom or whatever, but I just don't think that's going to work. And added to the numbers, Councillor Lyons and myself will be leaving the meeting for the grants, and Councillor Manicus is not here, so who would make the decision if there was 5 councillors? It wouldn't work. So I think that they have to look at the big picture, not just the numbers to save a little bit of money.
Thank you. Any other comments? There being none, Councillor Sheegov. No further comments. I put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Councillor Lyons, are you for it?
No, I have my hand up.
Oh, did you? I beg your pardon. Thank you. 8-0. The next item is governance, and there are no issues in the government's agenda today. Item 10 is development, and the first one is 10.1, Development 1, proposed legat motion regarding immunisation programs. And the purpose of this paper is to obtain Council's endorsement for submission of a motion to the future Local Government Association of Tasmania general meeting regarding the role of councils in delivering school-based immunisation programs, and the details of that motion are found from pages 372 to 374. And the recommendation is that Council endorses the following motion for submission to the next available local general Association of Tasmania Local General Association of Tasmania General Meeting, that Legat advocates for the following. 1, that the Tasmanian Government removes or modifies Section 57 of the Public Health Act 1997, which requires councils to develop and implement an approved program for immunisation in its municipal area. 2, that the Tasmanian Department of Health takes primary responsibility for delivery of school-based immunisation programs in Tasmania. 3, that Section 57(1), if not removed, be replaced with, and I quote, a council may develop and implement an approved program for immunisation in its municipal area by liaising with the Tasmanian Health Service, who is required to carry out school-based immunisation programs statewide, end of quote. Will somebody please move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Sladden. A seconder, please. Councillor Lyons. Councillor Sladden.
Mayor, just a point of order, please.
Yes.
I've just reconsidered my position being here. I actually will leave the room if you don't mind, just because I'm a public service employee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I think so.
And that is noted in the agenda that Councillor Ferguson
I'll do the same.
And Deputy Mayor Councillor Sheegog are leaving because of a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, a seconder, please. Oh, we did. I beg your pardon, Councillor Lyons. Councillor Sladden. No, it's not on yet. It is now.
Oh, thank you. I'm still learning. Yeah, no, I support this motion. Really is just more than anything else bringing the idea of a motion for a future local government association general meeting. So that's really what we're discussing here. There's a bit of history behind this. The Public Health Act 1997 says a council must develop and implement an improved program for immunisation, and really that's one of the words that I think council has discussed that may need changing to a council may develop and implement. So really moving from compelling councils to provide this service to allowing them the opportunity to develop this service if they have the resources to do so. Currently, the West Tamar Council helps to deliver a schools-based immunisation program for Year 7 students, HPV, DTP, and Year 10 students, meningococcal ACWY. And we've often offered those services in conjunction with the Launceston Council as well. You know, we've collaborated on delivering that. Many schools in the area now have school nurses and have another way of delivering those programs. And as we were discussing as a council, the costs and benefits and risks and benefits of this program, it really did sort of bring to the fore that there are, you know, things that need to be considered here as to, you know, what are the costs to the council and, you know, the risks as well. And we felt that, you know, the school nursing system and the Department of Health are probably best situated in certain circumstances to deliver such a program. So, and looking at how to consolidate the delivery of immunisation services as well. So, really, this motion is really about giving councils the option to deliver this program where they have the facilities to do so, but not them being compelled to deliver it as the current wording under the Public Health Act states. So on those notes, I support this motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sladden. Councillor Lyons.
As a council, we don't employ many doctors and we don't employ any nurses. And so we go out and get a contract. We're not really in a position to test the accreditation of those people, whilst I'm sure we've always had qualified people. I think the state government would know who's an accredited doctor and who's a registered nurse. The big problem that I see is the reduction in the number of vaccinations, which was actually on television this morning. Forget the exact number, but it was something like 40% don't have vaccination now. You know, I'm old enough to sort of remember polio, and I think it would be a real problem if there's a continued decline, even in, you know, flu, etc. Vaccinations. I think the state government is in the best position to run this program. They could have statewide contracts, and I'm sure that would be a much more sensible method of continuing and increasing our vaccination rates than a local council like us, or even smaller councils, trying to run these health programs. So I think it's a sensible motion. I sort of don't agree with if Section 1's not removed, but I know you've got to give them an out, and this does allow some flexibility in the state government's decision making.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Are there any other comments? Councillor Sladden, will you please close?
Oh, nothing further.
Thank you very much. Then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 6-0. Will somebody please Yes, they're coming back. So item 11 is corporate, and there are no agenda items for this section for this month. Then section 12 is community, and the first item is 12.1, COM1, Youth Advisory Council minutes from September 2025. And the purpose of this report is to provide Council with the minutes of the Youth Advisory Council, YAC, meeting held on the 18th of September 2025 for noting, and the details are on page 376 to 379, and the recommendation is the Council receives and notes the minutes as presented for the Youth Advisory Council meeting held on the 18th of September 2025. Will somebody please? Yes. What is it? And if you've got a seconder.
Council receives the notes as presented.
Sorry.
My amendment is that we delete the words "the minutes" from this recommendation. So it reads that the council receives the notes as presented for the Youth Advisory Council meeting. I just don't believe that they are minutes, and they can't make a decision in a subcommittee in any event. So I think they are notes of the meeting.
Is there a seconder for that?
No. I've got mine on.
Oh, it's purely an administrative procedure, so I don't think it's going to change the whole aspect. It's quite right. They're actually entitled meeting notes.
Yeah.
Ones are minutes. So the CEO did say before she left that one lot were minutes, which is the YAC, and one lot were notes.
Beg your pardon.
Yes.
I'm reading.
So the YAC ones are minutes, and the next ones are notes.
Yes.
Sorry.
So I go back to the original recommendation, and do I have a mover, please?
Happy
Councillor
to move.
Allen.
Yes.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Linden. Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Allen.
No, just that I'm on this committee, and certainly they do make decisions at these meetings, at the youth meeting. So I would call them minutes, but I'm happy to say they reflect the last.
Thank you. Councillor
I
Ferguson.
think I was there.
Yes, it was a well-attended meeting. Just the notes excuse me.
The minutes.
The minutes reflect that we've had YAC members undertake first aid training, and it was undertaken over there at the soccer meeting room. I think there was about 2 full days. Liz, I think there was 7. It was a good number, and that was a self-directed opportunity that group organised through their team. So yeah, it's really excellent that not only are that's one of the benefits is being involved in YAC. There is development available for them, and that first aid certificate will really put them in a good position in the future.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? There being none, Councillor Allen, before we close?
Nothing further.
Thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. The next item, 12.2, COM2, Positive Ageing Committee meeting notes. And the purpose of this report is to provide Council with the meeting notes from the West Tamar Positive Ageing Committee's PAC meeting held on the 22nd of September 25 for noting, and it's detailed on pages 380 to 381 of the agenda. And the recommendation is the Council receives and notes the meeting notes as presented for the West Tamar Positive Ageing Committee meeting held on the 22nd of September 2025. May I please have a mover? Councillor Allen.
Move, yeah.
And a seconder, please.
Okay, fine.
Councillor Shigo. Councillor Allen.
These ones are definitely notes because we're looking at a new terms of reference for that committee. So certainly the notes record what happened at that meeting. So happy to accept them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shigo.
Nothing to say.
Any other comments? There being none, Councillor Allen to close? No, thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. Thank you very much, Liz, for being here. No hard questions, but we now go on to the community grants. And the first one is for the Lagana Early Learning Centre. And this report provides an overview of Lagana Early Learning Centre's community grant application received for assessment in October 2025. And the details of that application are found from pages 385 to 403 of the council papers, and the recommendation is that council approve the Lagana Early Learning Centre's community grant application seeking funding to assist with the completion of stage 1 of their project to replace 3 separate ageing storage sheds with their streamlined new build for $5,000 as outlined in the application. May I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Ireland. A seconder. Councillor Sladden. Councillor Ireland.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is an extremely good application. I've never actually seen a score so high as this. I think they must have cheated. But anyway, 20 out of 20 is pretty good. So it's a very good project. Slab for a shed. They need a shed to store stuff. So I'm very happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Sladden.
Yeah, just to echo Councillor Ireland, great application, scored very highly on the matrix. But what I like best too is how the way it intersects with our community health and wellbeing plan, with well-planned services for a range of ages. And this certainly nods to that with the Lagana Early Learning Centre. There's a lot going on in Lagana at the moment, and our younger people are not forgotten. So this is a great proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Sladden. So now I will put it. Oh, I beg your pardon. Any other comments? There being none, Councillor Ireland, would you like to close? No further comments. Thank you. I put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. So the next grant application is from the Rotary Club of the West Tamar, and it's item COM4 Community Grant. And the report provides an overview of the Rotary Club of West Tamar's community grant application received for assessment in October 2025, detailed from pages 404 to 431. And the recommendation is, hang on just a sec. For goodness sake. Sorry. Pages are sticking. And the recommendation is that Council approves the Rotary Club of West Tamar community grant application to assist with the Tamar's Got Talent event to the value of $3,129 as outlined in the application. Will somebody please move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. A seconder, please. Councillor Sladden. And I note that Councillor Allen has left the meeting due to a conflict of interest. So, Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, happy to recommend this as well. Approve this community grant. This will be a great event. They'll do a great job. You can see from the application and what the submission, it already has got good support from whether it's school or the arts group or people interested in making it a success. So I think this is a good investment for council as it links into our well-being and community strategy. So yeah, happy to support it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sladden.
Look, I love the idea of a good talent quest. I just suggest that maybe council should send a few entries in But no, I love the way it intersects with our community health and wellbeing plan again, and they will do a great job of this. So I thoroughly endorse this application.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? There being none, Councillor Ferguson, please first.
Yeah, Roger. And if I do win it, I'll donate the prize money to a charity of Liz's choice.
That will be noted, Councillor Ferguson. I will now put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 7-0. So 12.5, another community grant for the Grindelwald Leisure Gardens, and the report provides an overview of Grindelwald Leisure Gardens Estates Grant application received for assessment in October 2025, and the details from page 432 to 446. And again, the recommendation is that Council approves Grindelwald Leisure Garden Estates Community Grant application, partial funding to the value of $1,500 for the purchase of the new extended watering system outlined in the application. Will somebody please move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Ireland. Seconder, please. Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Ireland.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is, look, it's a really good application, and normally it would be funded, but because of the unique situation at Grindelwald that's not open to the public, it's only going to be available to the residents of the Leisure Garden Estate. We decided at workshop to just give a partial funding, roughly half the money. It's a good idea, but we normally support community grants, meaning the whole community. So that's why we gave it a limited, but hopefully enough to get them going. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, this just reflects our process, and so while we do commend them in our deliberations that this was the kind of support we were confident to make. So yeah, we wish them all the best, and it is we had these discussions, didn't we, that there's a range of groups and in a community. There's quite a large community there. They're wanting to do something. This is about supporting some of their objectives, even though it scored lower in some of the other categories. But we wish them all the best and thank them for applying.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments? Then any further comments, Councillor Ireland, to close? Thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 8-0. And the final application for grants is for the Tamar Sea Rescue. And this paper is seeking approval to acquit a success. And I note that Councillor Lyons has left the meeting due to a perceived conflict of interest. The paper is seeking approval to acquit a successful 24-25 grant from the Tamar Sea Rescue out of the 25-26 funding pool, and the details of the request are from pages 447 to 461. And the recommendation is that Council approves the acquittal of the Tamar Sea Rescue's successful 24-25 grant application from the 25-26 community grant pool. May I please have a mover?
Happy to.
Councillor Allen, and a seconder, please. Councillor Schiegel. Councillor Allen.
Yes, it's just important to note that this group has received a grant and they're just acquitting now that the time is up, that they've spent that money. And certainly it's an essential service, I think, in our community that doesn't get a lot of government funding. So, we were happy to provide that fund to that organisation.
Thank you very much. Councillor Schiegel.
Agree with Councillor Allen totally. They're a great service and do a great work for our community. And this is an administrative issue because the grant was given late in the financial year and then went over to the new financial year. So it's just changing it from one budget to another.
Yep. Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Allen? Thank you very much. Before I ask for the vote, I agree entirely. They're a great community necessity, really. They're not just an asset, but they're actually a necessity. And whenever there is any kind of incident on the water, whether it be on the river or up at Trevellyn Dam or anywhere really out in Bass Strait, they're there. So I'm really pleased that we've been able to support them as well. So now I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 7-0. Now Councillor Lyons can come back in.
That was just good.
Thanks, Katie. Item 13, we'll just wait for Councillor Lyons to come back.
What's about the two?
So item 13 is community assets, and 13.1 asset 1 capital works project budget variations. And the purpose of this item is to report to Council on capital works project budget variations approved under delegation by the Chief Executive Officer. And the details of this this issue are from pages 462 to 465 of the Council papers, and the recommendation is that Council receives this report under the Local Government Act 1993, Section 82(7), noting the capital works project budget adjustments approved under delegation from the Chief Executive Officer. May I please have a mover? Councillor Ferguson, thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Ireland. Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, happy to receive this information. Just articulates changes to the budget, adjustments through the Chief Executive. Part of this is managing risk and allowing a Chief Executive to get on with the job and in a transparent manner. So happy to accept this information.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Ireland?
Yes, thank you. It's a relatively small amount, and it's mainly to provide for project management costs from one money bag to another money bag, if you like. So happy to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions of our Assets Director? There being none. Okay, Councillor Ferguson, would you like to close? Thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 8-0. Thank you, Dino. Item 14 is people, culture and safety, and there are no items this month. There are no petitions. Notice of motions. Notice of motion from Councillor Lana from pages 468 for 479 in the Council papers, and the motion is that Council it submits the following motion for consideration at the next Legat meeting, and that Legat requests the Tasmanian State Government to conduct a feasibility assessment of a pilot project state-owned combined insurance agency, regional banking and licensed post office to restore face-to-face banking services in regional Tasmania, starting with its base at Queenstown's LPO in light of the closure of their last bank in town. Councillor Lana, you'd like to move that motion?
I would like to move the motion.
Thank you.
Can I speak to it?
You can once I've got a seconder. So may I please have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Sladden. Thank you. Councillor Lana.
This is an important initiative that has the potential to be the basis, as the old Commonwealth Bank was, to boost fund infrastructure projects such as the needed Tas Water development, using government-owned credit. It's very different from the debt model that we're running under at the moment. It would also have the potential to protect councils' surplus funds in a secure government-backed facility, as occurred in North Dakota, where they escaped the credit crisis of 2008. They were the only state that escaped the credit crisis. And the economy, not only in Australia, but worldwide, is looking a bit shaky under the current model of market forces and debt funding of everything.
Thank you. Sorry, very dry throat. I'm sorry for interrupting. Thank you very much. Seconder, Councillor Sladden. Any comments?
No, thank you. This is actually quite a an interesting motion, I think. I mean, firstly, we're really just asking to submit a motion for consideration at the next LGAT meeting that they would request the state government to do a feasibility assessment. Now, I find this whole area of regional banking and state-owned ways of doing insurance and being able to provide infrastructure really quite interesting. And I think we're at a time really where we need to be open to exploring new ideas, and especially with banking in regional areas becoming more and more challenging. Places like Beaconsfield, they lost their bank. We know that the CBA in Exeter, I think their time is up in 2027. We don't know what's happening there, but around Australia, regional areas have lost their banking, and also infrastructure projects are obviously needing attention around both our local area and the state. So I'm very interested to see whether this is whether there's any potential solution by looking at innovative ideas such as this. So for that reason, I second this motion, because I think it's worthwhile sometimes to at least ask the question. So that's why I'm supporting this motion.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Lyons.
Well, I think this motion fits in well with the state government policy of starting up their own insurance company. If that happens, then I think having a financial institution with their insurance company and joined at an Australian post office is probably a way of doing it. But because it's government policy, it doesn't mean they're going to do it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Any other comments? Yes, Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, I won't be supporting this, but I do support initiatives that would keep in place accessible banking support for all communities. So I think we've got to be careful that we're not committing ourselves or trying to commit Legat, that is here to represent all of the councils, on what could be perceived as not well-placed motions. So this has got some real problems, this motion, and also in light of the fact that there is already a lot being done in the background here, that ALGA has had a motion carried, which is the national body regarding banking in communities, and referencing the feasibility studies that had been undertaken. So I won't be supporting it. I think if we really looked at what we want ALGAT to do for all of Tasmania, it's not addressing particularly this motion. There needs to be more work done on this motion for it to be acceptable, and it needs to be aligned to what is already going on in this space. So sorry, this is going to be a very confusing message to send to LGAT.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Councillor Ireland first, then Councillor Allen and Councillor Shigog.
Sorry, yes,
And
I
then
think
I'll have a say as well.
this is probably duplicating what is already being done by the Australian government. And one of the things I really can't get my head around is the fact that because local post offices do a lot of banking, they're effectively a competition with the local bank.
Yep.
So once upon a time, Commonwealth Bank in Exeter was open till 3 or 4 o'clock. They had a reduction in customers down, it's only open 1 o'clock because everybody's going across the road. So you've got a situation where in this motion, we're trying to actually support the banks, but also the competition to the banks. So it's a bit like saying to Woolworths, you've got to open there isn't a supermarket in Weymouth, so you've got to open a supermarket in Weymouth. But by the way, we're going to open an IGA as well, just to give you a run for your money. So it's a complicated situation, and I don't even know if the insurance thing will ever get up anyway. So I'm happy to let this be carried by the Australian government rather than getting ALGA. I mean, ALGA even more bogged down in something which probably won't happen at the state level anyway.
Thank you. Councillor Allen?
Yeah, I'm afraid, sorry, Karen, I have to agree. I think if it's gone to the federal level, I think at this stage it's better for them to address it and not confuse it, sorry, as Councillor Ferguson has said. And I think it's just kind of, the motion's just kind of hanging there. It's kind of not completed to me. It's like I've missed some pages, so I won't be voting this time for it. Thank you.
Councillor Shigog.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, it's a very interesting motion, and I like listening. Coming into the end of the debate, it's really quite handy. I don't totally. I do support part of it. I'm not sure why we're starting with Queenstown's LPO because if anywhere we should be thinking about our own area, and if they've got an issue on the West Coast, then they should be the ones moving potentially the motion. So I don't like that being in there. However, it is only to move a motion for consideration at Legat. And what I can see being a benefit from that is at Legat meeting, we'll have all of the councils there. We can get an idea across the board what everyone's consensus is on this matter, and maybe once and for all, either push it through or that's it. So unless we have that opportunity, and I think this is a great forum, we're not sending it to the government, we're just sending it to Legat for discussion, consideration, and see what other councils around Tasmania think, and then move from there. Again, I'm not sure if you'd wish to remove starting with its base at Queenstown's LPO in light of closure of their last bank in town. I think the motion just should end at Tasmania, because if you're moving it to a statewide organisation, Legat, you're actually sort of narrowing the base. So, for the purposes of the exercise, I'd like to move an amendment to the motion that Tasmania, full stop, and take out the rest of it from starting to town.
I'd like to speak as well.
If
If I
Caroline
may.
accepts that.
Sorry, I didn't quite get so to cross out starting with its space.
Yeah, from starting
Right.
till the end, remove, and so the Tasmania will be the last word in the motion.
Well, just hang on a moment. I think I should give my point of view before we start changing it, because I'm giving a point of view to the motion as it is. And then we can...
Can you though?
You can't. I've moved an amendment. Oh. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So if Caroline accepts it, that becomes the motion, I assume, or it has to be seconded by somebody.
So the motion now is?
Well, no, we haven't.
You want to change?
Somebody has to second it.
So that was the second meeting.
Sure.
Julie.
Julian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that seems reasonable to me.
Okay. So, sorry. Are you happy to?
So that's the motion.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Well, before I ask for the matter to be closed, I won't be supporting this motion because I think that, like other councillors have said, I think it is better dealt with at a national level. What I'd really like to see, and I really take the points that Councillor Ireland made, is that on the one hand, we're complaining that we have a bank that most likely the only one in our municipality that won't be there after 2027. In part, it's because there is a drop in customer service needs because of what the post offices are doing. But what I'd rather get involved in as a council is to find out what the community obligations of banks actually are. And is there some way, I mean, if the bank at Exeter closes in 2027, we don't have one branch in the municipality, which means that anybody that has issues that the current post office can't deal with has got to go into Launceston. And I was speaking with somebody recently and they said they waited 1 hour to see a consultant at the Launceston branch of the Commonwealth Bank. So I'd really rather try and lobby to force the government to require banks to at least have one branch in an area with a population of a certain amount of people. That should be their community obligation. So for that reason, I won't be supporting this because I think we've got to come at it from another angle. So now,
Just pause for a minute while Ellie fixes up.
yes,
Just
we'll just put it up. So now the amended motion reads, request the Tasmanian State Government to conduct a feasibility assessment of a pilot project, state-owned combined insurance agency, regional banking and licensed post offices to restore face-to-face banking services in regional Tasmania. So is the seconder happy with that? Yes, okay. So Councillor Lana, do you wish to make any further statements before I put it to the vote?
I do.
Excuse me, point of order, Mayor, sorry. Do we not, is this open again for debate because it's now the new motion?
It's a new motion, so
Yep.
should allow debate.
Yes, so we should allow debate, yes. So with Councillor Lana and then anybody else that wishes to make a comment.
The issue, as far as I can see, is that so I'm referring to Queenstown because there has been a concerted effort to raise the matter of community service charter of banks as regards to the government guarantee, the 250.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking to this matter that the state government part in this, just in answer to others' input, in that the federal government has referred the matter to our state government, despite its constitutional powers to require banks such as Bendigo and Queenstown to keep their doors open under their community service standards with regards to the funding, the fractional reserve funding that they get from the Reserve Bank, and also the government guarantee. So that's not working. Therefore, this idea of state government intervention as to the feasibility is entirely appropriate, which is actually how the old Commonwealth Bank was first started, in post offices. So it's just a bit of interesting background.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ferguson as a seconder.
Yeah, just first of all, just a question, the Chief Executive. Is there a deadline for the motion to be able to make legat? Because I understood that this was already going to miss the next meeting because it's missed their cut-off, and it would be in the further...
Well, and we discussed that at the last council meeting, and it has missed the deadline for the conference, but it can be taken to the first general meeting in the first quarter of next year at a legat general meeting.
Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, this doesn't change it for me. There's no rush for this. This can be. I just sort of expressed to Councillor Alana that this can be improved and worked to a point which would get support from this government. From this council, if you allow that input to happen. I'm not going to support this motion. It's going to confuse the whole fact. It's committing a waste of resources where we could actually just get this into a position where it's better understood. We should be writing very simply to Legat and asking, this is what I would do, find out where we're at with this stuff. That is not in this motion. There is information missing, there's updates missing that would help us actually get the best position for Legat to take forward. We shouldn't be putting this in amongst the pigeons at a general meeting. Let's get it right. So please, can we... I do think we need to put this off. It's incumbent on you, Councillor, I believe, to bring a better motion forward, and you'll find that it will probably have very good support.
Thank you. If there are no further comments, then Councillor Lana, you can close before I take it to the vote.
I just wanted to speak to the matter of the perceived conflict with competition with the private banks, and would like to assure people that the Bank of North Dakota is endorsed by the Local Government Association of North Dakota, in that it doesn't compete on loans to housing, for instance.
Madam Mayor, may I make a point of order? I'd like a procedural motion to have a vote.
Thank you very much. So
have a vote.
Discussion is closed, and I will now
Need to vote.
Yes, so I need somebody to second the move for a procedural. Thank you, motion for a procedural motion. Thank you, Councillor Allen. And now we can put the motion. So all of those in favour.
You have to vote on the procedural motion.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes. So we're voting on to close the debate. Thank you. So it's 8-0. And now I put it to the vote for the motion. So all of those in favour? Against?
Can we just read out who?
So in favour is Councillor Sladden, Councillor Lyons, Councillor... No.
Down.
Yeah, in favour. Those, I have to read out the names. In favour. Councillor Sladden, thank you, Councillor Lyons. I'm chairing this meeting. Councillor Lyons, Councillor Shegog and Councillor Lana. And those against? Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Hondal, Councillor Allen and Councillor island, so the motion fails. Thank you. There are item 16.2, motions without notice. There aren't any for this meeting. Councillors' questions on notice are found, and the replies are found from pages 470 to 476. And then we come to 17.2, questions without notice from the councillors. So I'll actually start with Councillor Sladden.
Oh, lovely. I do have a question without notice. It's just regarding the an augmentation of our waste recycling, and I noticed that the Recycle Rewards program has really taken off in West Tamar. Specifically, I think in July we hit over 500,000 deposits just at the Windsor one down here, which has raised $50,000 to the community, either individuals or their selected charities, and they've had to put in a second one in Beaconsfield, I believe, as well. So this is obviously something that our community wants to do. When I was interstate recently, I spotted alongside regular waste bins, and I did send a picture of this to councillors, baskets, just a simple basket mechanism where people could put in aluminium cans or glass bottles for other members of the community to come and collect them. Now, there may be some certain occupational health and safety things that need to be addressed here, but I thought it was such a simple idea and a way of capitalising what we're already doing well. My question is, would it be possible for council to look into the pricing of such an idea in the municipality, and where and how that might work? Just that additional waste basket for recycling alongside some, especially in our high use areas, say for example, maybe Greens Beach or Beaconsfield and in and around Windsor.
We can certainly take that question on notice, Councillor Sladden, and supply you with the answers that you want to that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
Not a question, just some advice for council. Last YAC meeting, there was discussion about maintenance of the underpass for the school. Just it's
the one at Riverside.
Riverside, yes. Just at times being untidy and graffiti. So infrastructure manager, if they just might expect some contact, probably through our council officers actually on that from that last meeting. And also just to report back to the council, so that in fact infrastructure manager got back to YAC, informed them that the school zone sign is actually not in the best position, and that is being reevaluated. That came through YAC feedback, so that was pleasing to have that come back. So thank you for following that up, Dino.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Lyons.
Yeah, I did a walk through with other councillors, the goat track and etc. at Exeter, with a member of the community, Barry Blinkhorn, who pointed out his concerns about the potential subdivision in that whole area, and it was really worthwhile doing, and it cemented my view that it's going to take a considerable amount of entrepreneurial skills to get any subdivision up in that area, and it was worthwhile doing. So I just thought I should report that to council. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Councillor Sheagle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to report that I can't remember the date now. Anyway, I went to a meeting with Rick Martin, and I think most people would probably know Rick around the table. He's actually now the new weatherman. Yes. So he's starting up a project called Rosie's Reading, and that some of you may or may not be aware of.
It already exists.
Yeah, it already
Yeah.
exists, but he
Yep.
wishes to actually also launch it into this local government area because the West Tamar has been sort of indicated as a place that this type of
It's a great
involvement.
program.
It is a great program.
Really
So,
is.
I think at the time, so I got invited. There was the Minister for Education and so on and so on there. So I just wanted a heads up that there'll probably be a presentation from Rick at maybe the next council meeting potentially, or the workshop prior to. And if you don't know what the program is, it's called Rosie's Reading. There's a Tasmanian website, um, and it gives you a good idea as to what the program's about. And so when Rick does come, you'll be sort of well informed.
Yeah, and it's a program that was created by his late mother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
it really is a great program.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor. Councillor Allen.
Yes, if I could just have a follow up on the disabled parking bays in Grub Street, Beaconsfield, and Charles Street near the post office. And the second one was the Tamar Valley Wine, the initial Wine and Food Festival on Saturday was a very successful day. There was 1,200 paying guests or paying patrons, and that doesn't include all the volunteers on the day and all the store holders and their families, and so it was a very successful day.
Thank you. Councillor Ireland.
Yes, thank you. We're in the architectural awards season coming up,
Yes.
and we usually end the process by having an award ceremony. And quite frankly, the award ceremonies are very few people turn up, and it's very exclusive. And I was wondering, would it be feasible to combine the architectural awards on Australia Day? So then, with people who would look, we're probably going to add another 20 minutes to the Australia Day process, but it means that we'll. It gives people a bit more kudos. They've gone to all the effort of winning this prize, and there are 4 other people watching it happen. So, if it happened at the Australia Day Awards in whenever they are in January.
On the 26th of January.
26th, it's a good day there. Then I think it would be good, more kudos, give more publicity to the actual awards. And to us, it saves us organising a second event, adds a few half an hour, 20 minutes to our ceremony, and everybody will be very happy. So I'd like
I think that's a great idea, and I think it would also make people aware of some of the amazing architecture. Councillor Ireland and I are 2 of the assessment committee members, and the last year there was the last ones were really quite something. One particular one, I think. So I think it's a great idea, and maybe we discuss that at our next workshop and see how we can make it happen. Yeah, Councillor Lana.
Thank you. Just by way of harking back to the idea of the government bank, I did offer, or I have on offer, another PowerPoint presentation on the Bank of North Dakota and the model that it runs, which might give some insight as to how a state bank doesn't necessarily compete with private banks, and just wondering whether that would be possible to present.
Well, I would suggest that you send it around to all the councillors, and I think that would be a start. And then if there is an interest to continue the discussion, I'm sure they'll let us know. But in the first instance, perhaps email it to all the councillors and also to the executive team as well.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
For that opportunity. Last question, and it's a bit cheeky of me. So, in regards to perceived conflict of a state bank with private banking, can I ask how many people around the table have shares in one of the big 4 banks or through a super fund?
I don't think that's an appropriate question, Councillor Lana. Thank you. I don't have any questions, but the only comment I'd like to make is I was driving down Grub Street the other day in Beaconsfield, And I'd like to commend the people that run the Online Access Centre. The courthouse looks fabulous from the street. They've really, our works department have done a bit of painting, as I understand it, but the garden looks really lovely. The building actually pops. So full marks to the team at the Online Access Centre in Beaconsfield.
And Madam, just a point of order. Just wondering whether that question from Councillor Lana is going to be retracted, or how is that going to be handled? Because I find that quite
it's out
disturbing.
It won't be. It won't be.
Just it's a disturbing question to ask at this point in the meeting.
I think that it is something that we need to discuss in the confidential section of the meeting. I think that's probably the best way to deal with it. Yes.
Madam Mayor, my point is not quite so. Has there been any new date for the opening of the Beauty Point foreshore?
Yes, and I only got it the other day, so it's not that the CEO hasn't wanted to inform you, but I only found out this morning. It's the 15th of November.
Same time.
Yes, same time. So fingers crossed that we don't have a hurricane and a deluge. So then the next agenda item 17.3 is responses to questions on notice from councillors, and there is a question from Councillor Shegog with a reply on page 476 of the agenda. And we now go into the closed meeting, so I'm going to have to ask everybody in the public gallery to leave, please. And the recommendation is that pursuant to section 17.1 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025, Council closed the meeting to the public at 3:46 p.m. To discuss the items as noted in the papers on page 477. So thank you all very much for coming in, and thank you for lasting the distance. Thank you. Okay, so now we come to the close of the meeting, and item number 19 is the recommendation that council moves out of closed meeting at 4:30 p.m. and endorses those decisions made while in closed meeting, and the information remains confidential. We've done. Oh, we've done. Yeah. No, we did this one. And then we do this one. Okay. So the meeting is closed. Yes, we do.